Hello students, to this lecture of calculus of variation. In fact, this is not a lecture regarding calculus of variation, but in this lecture I am talking about certain standard curves which you should know, because in calculus of variation the solution of a variational problem comes out to be in terms of a function. So every function of one variable represents certain curve. So you should know the geometry of certain standard curves, how they look like. So this lecture is mainly focused on this aspect. So here first we talk about the rough sketch of the curves, because every time it is not possible to draw a table for a curve that you have here x, as you have learnt in the lower classes, that this is x, this is y, and you put certain values of x here and you get the values of y, and then you can have a plot. So that actually a actual plot, but here we are not talking about the actual plots. In your undergraduate studies you have learned the curve tracing concept of the curve tracing. Curve tracing is basically concerned about the rough sketch of the curve, the rough idea of the curve, not the exact curve. But there are some standard curves you should know, and they are useful in calculus of variation. So normally in curve tracing we have three types of the curve: Cartesian curve, polar curve, and parametric curve. After with each of these we are here giving plot of some standard Cartesian curves with their equations, some polar curves, and some parametric curves. So first, what is a rough sketch of curves? In calculus, for evaluating area volume of revolution, we need to know the general nature, a rough sketch of a curve. Suppose you have to find the area of revolution about the x-axis, area of revolution about the x-axis by this curve, this type of curve. So obviously if you are given the geometry, you must know the actual equation of the curve. If you are given the equation, suppose I am writing here one equation, that y equal to x cube plus 1. Obviously if you try to plot it, then definitely it will take some time, and again if you have some more complex curve, suppose x cube plus 2x divided by under root x plus 3, so definitely this kind of situations require a lot of time. So to avoid the actual plot, you should have rough idea of the curve, how roughly this curve looks like. The actual equation is there, the rough idea will give you the information regarding these aspects, how the area can be calculated and where volume of revolution can be calculated. So this is the main use of curve tracing in calculus. And in calculus of variation, we obtain the solution of a variational problem as a function. When you get a function, then what kind of geometry this function is representing is very much useful for a problem of physical nature or geometrical nature. To get a physical or geometrical insight of variational problem, we must know the nature and geometry of the curve. Curve tracing enables us to have an idea of a rough sketch of a curve. So next you see the Cartesian curve. A curve obtained by a function of one independent variable is the Cartesian curve. This is the simplest one which we have learned in our lower classes, that if we have this x and y is depending on x, you put x is 0 and y is 0. If you take x is 1, then y is 1. If you take 2, then this is 2, and so on and so forth. So suppose this is 0 and let this is 1 and this is 2. Similarly here this is 1, this is 2, value of y. So x is 0 at 0 is this point, 1 is this point will be there, and similarly for 2 the point will be somewhere there. So this way we get a straight line, the very simple one. But if we say that what is this, y square equal to 4x, so you have already learned this curve, you have already studied this type of curve in geometry in your 11th class or also in the graduation. This is definitely a parabola of this type whose vertex is at origin and the latest vector is this 4. So the focus of this parabola is at this. So you say, because you have already studied this type of curve in your two-dimensional geometry, so you are easy to tell the geometry of this curve. Similarly, if you have x square equal to 4ay, then you know the parabola of this sort is given by this type, is represented in this way. So similarly, different curves have their different geometries. You can find them by actual plot and by the rough idea. And for rough idea, you need to study the curve tracing in your undergraduate classes. You can refer any book. So here I am just going to refresh the geometry of some standard curves and their equations. So in Cartesian form, you see the first is the circle with center on x-axis and passing through origin, and the equation is given like this. If it is plus, the geometry is this. If it is minus, geometry is this. Similarly, if center lies on y-axis, then equation of this type, you write like this. If we have parabola, as I already mentioned, the equation is given like this. Y square is 4ax and your y square minus 4x in this side. And similarly, for this x square equal to 4ay, it will be like that. And x square equal to minus 4ay, it will be in this way. So these are the geometries of the parabola. Now the rectangular hyperbola. What is a rectangular hyperbola? If x into y's product is some constant. If it is positive, then it is like this, and if it is negative, then it is like this, the rectangular hyperbola. Further, we have another hyperbola, the one hyperbola of this type, x square minus y square equal to a square. This is given by this geometry, and y square minus x square is this. Also, the another form of representing a hyperbola of this type is this. You can write x equal to r cos theta and r sin theta. So you can write like this. Then the ellipse. An ellipse is given by, if a is greater than b, a means the major axis, then this is given by this type of geometry, where small a is the semi-major axis, length of semi-major axis, and small b is the length of this semi-minor axis. If reverse is the case, is a is less and b becomes the major axis here. So the ellipse, geometry of ellipse is like this. Next is the cissoid of diagonals. The equation, Cartesian equation of the curve is given by this, and geometry is like this. And this is one important asteroid. The Cartesian equation is given by this, and the parametric equation is given by this. Both the equations are important. Whenever these equations are given, immediately it should come to your mind that geometry is like this. Here, this is one special case is that then b and a are equal, then you will have a here and you will have e here. So that is another geometry. So next is the polar curve. What is the polar curve? You know the polar coordinates are, suppose you have x-axis here, origin, y-axis, and you are representing one point x, y here. So x means this distance along x-axis, and y means this distance along y-axis. Now if I join this, and let this angle is theta, and I say let this distance is r, and I say this point is p. This point, the coordinates of this point p are also can also be given in this way, r theta. So here r is called the radius vector and theta is called the vectorial angle. In fact, in polar coordinates you have this line only, this point O and this p, then this r and theta. This is called initial line, initial line, and this is vectorial angle. Vectorial angle. Yeah, vectorial angle is here, and this is called the radius vector. So, and here is point P whose coordinates are r and theta. Yeah, and this is the initial line of origin. So, from that figure already mentioned, this is x and this distance is y and this is r. Then obviously x equal to r cos theta, x equal to r cos theta, and y will be equal to r sin theta. Y is r sin theta and x equal to r cos theta. So this is the relation between Cartesian coordinate and the polar coordinates. So Cartesian coordinate can be converted to polar coordinates, or polar coordinates can be converted to Cartesian coordinate using this relationship, x equal to r cos theta y. For example, here we are having a polar curve r equal to cos theta. So note one more thing, that here r square becomes x square plus y square. So using this here, we can convert this polar equation in terms of Cartesian equation here, and finally we will get this. So this is the Cartesian equation corresponding to this polar equation. So next standard curves are standard polar curves are cardioid. This is very important. The cardioid means the heart-shaped curve. If we have equation of this type, then curve is of this form. If we have equation of this type, curve is of this form. If we have equation of this type, then curve is this form, and this equation is this r equal to this, and curve is of this form. So these are the standard cardioid curves. Then parametric curves. If Cartesian variables x and y are expressible in terms of a single parameter, then subsequent equation is called a parametric equation. For example, x equal to a cos theta, and here this y equal to a sin theta is a parametric equation of a circle of radius a and center at origin, because when you square and add these two, we get x square plus y square equal to a square, which is an equation of a circle whose center is at origin and radius is a. So like in case of polar coordinates, a parametric equation can be converted to Cartesian form or polar form. Now certain standard parametric equation, some standard parametric equation for ellipse of ellipse whose equation is given by x square by a square plus y square by b square equal to 1. Then for that parametric equation is this. It can be verified that when you put x equal to a cos theta here and y b sin theta, this equation will be satisfied. Similarly, for the hyperbola of this type, x square by a square minus y square by b square equal to 1, the parametric equation is generally, remember this one. In a hyperbolic function form, you can write in this way. For parabola of this type, the parametric equation is this: x equal to 80 square, y equal to 80. You can put here and you can get this equation will be satisfied. And for parabola of this type, the equations are these parametric equations. For rectangular hyperbola xy equal to c square, the parametric equation is x equal to ct and y equal to c by t. So next one important type of curve is the cycloid. Cycloids are very important in parametric forms. If we have an equation of this form, x equal to a t plus sin t, y equal to a into 1 plus cos t, then we have this type of curve, and this is called a cycloid. And this is not the single, this is only one loop of the cycloid. In fact, the process goes on infinitely and so on and so forth in this side as well as on this side, we can go infinitely. So in the same manner, then this is again the second type of cycloid. When equation is like that, in place of plus if we have minus, then cycloid is like this. Means this is touching means x-axis is tangent to this type of cycloid, okay, and it is not passing through origin, and also it is not passing through origin. Now the another third one is this type of equation when this has plus and here is minus sign, the equation is like this. So x-axis is tangent to again this curve at origin, but it is passing through origin, right? So again here is also infinite type of situation. Then similarly for this type, when both have minus sign, then this again, and so on and so forth. This is also infinite type of situation, and it is passing through origin. But in this case, x-axis is not the tangent. Tangent is t equal to phi. So these are the standard cycloids which you should know. Another important curve is the tractrix. The equation of tractrix in Cartesian form, in parametric form, is given like this. This is parametric form, and the geometry of tractrix is this type. Then the catenary. Catenary is also important for Brachistochrone problem, because in Brachistochrone problem, the solution comes out to be a catenary. The solution of Brachistochrone problem is a catenary. So that's an important thing. And catenary is generally this type of curve. It crosses y-axis at some point C. So basically for this curve, the geometry is like this. Again the helix. Helix is this type of curve. Generally, for helical structures, the DNA is important, because of human DNA have helical structure, double helical structure. This is basically double helix. Double helix. So this is one helix in green color, another helix in blue color, and both the helical structures, there are bases G and C. They are connected in this way. The human genetics is related to, and the mathematical equation by which this type of structure comes out is x equal to r cos t, y equal to r sin t, and z equal to ct. So this is the equation of helix. Thank you. These curves are very important in various real life situations or in various branches of study. In calculus of variations, you may also have solution in terms of these curves. So these are very important. So keep in mind. Thank you. Thank you very much.